Morning, everyone. Hi, I am here with Emma, who has kindly volunteered to share her story and some experiences about one-to-many and her journey of, well, we're just talking about it, of starting a completely new career because of mum circumstances. So, hi, Emma. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for asking me. It's nice to be here.
No problem. And you were just saying, I love to go off at a tangent. And I was like, that's fine. We want to hear all the gossip. We want to, anything you want to let us know about the real stuff is absolutely fine. So let's kind of rewind. So right back at the beginning, you were saying you worked in marketing. So was that a real classic 9 to 5? Is that what you'd always done?
For many years I did. So I was a marketing manager for years. I got chartered status. I was running my own business, my own little consultancy. And I had a very nice ordered life, and everything was ticking along beautifully. And then children came along. And, as for most parents, that does throw a bit of a spanner in the works and tends to, cause a bit of upheaval. For us, that was a little bit more intense and lasted a bit longer than we thought it would. So I am a very proud mum to 2 autistic children, one of whom has a PDA profile. And for those who probably won't have heard of that, that's pathological demand avoidance. So we have a very neurospicy household. It got to the point where I realised that my children couldn't cope necessarily with mainstream education. So we ended up with one child out of school for quite a long time. We were dealing with, trying to get diagnoses and support they might need, therapies, EHCPs, which for those that don't know are educational health care plans. So that very much consumed my life, really. And having a child at home who needed you to act as an external nervous system for them because they weren't coping with the world around them obviously put a lot on me, and it became clear that I needed to step away from my career, which I did, happily to support my family.
Yeah.
But obviously that does come with, some impact.
Yeah, huge.
So I found myself for years out of paid work, caring for my neurodivergent family. And I think we had reached the point where, as a family, the children they're still young, but they're not babies anymore, and we are reaching a slightly calmer place. I'm very much still living this life, but it had got to the point where I was starting to consider whether I might be able to go back into some kind of work.
Yeah.
But I still needed a huge amount of flexibility. So really, I still needed to do something where I was working for myself. I knew that I couldn't really go back into marketing in the way that I had done because I just couldn't commit the time and to the clients. It wouldn't have been fair, and that's the reason I gave it up in the first place. And also a lot of my confidence had gone, despite the fact that I'd sort of built up this career and been doing this for years. It just, when you haven't done it for a while,
Things change and you worry that things will change. And
you do.
How long have you been out of marketing then? How long did you have?
About 3 or 4 years at least, I think. So yeah, I mean, things don't fundamentally change. Technology systems change, and you can learn that again. I think the main problem that I faced was that I was very time, and still am very time poor, and I need a huge amount of flexibility because the priority still has to be family. So whatever I do has to fit around that, and I need acceptance and understanding around that.
So what
So I
happened?
think
One day you just scrolling on Facebook and saw Lisa, or
yeah, not quite. I suddenly, it was really weird. I'd had this kind of idea that I would like to support parents and carers of SEN and neurodivergent children who were where I was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So I've been on quite the journey in terms of self-development, learning a huge amount, obviously, about neurodiversity, autism, PDA. Come to the realization that my entire family and myself are neurodivergent, and had realized that it wasn't just my child or my children that I needed to learn how to support. It was actually myself in amongst all of this, because there is a huge amount of pressure on parents and carers of neurodivergent kids, and actually there's very little support. There's loads of amazing advocates, lots of people around that can tell you what you should be doing for your kids, you know, great tips, lots of stuff you can learn in terms of them, their regulation. But actually nobody talks much about parents and the impact it has on parents, unless it's almost more of an afterthought. So, you know, it's almost like, oh, well, you might be going into burnout, or, you know, if you're in burnout now. And it had taken me years really to get to the point where I had found ways of being able to regulate my own nervous system, understanding what I needed, and realizing that actually this wasn't all my fault, and I wasn't a bad parent. I wasn't necessarily getting it all wrong.
so you got more comfortable with that, and then realised that you needed to put some things in for you, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of the time, people started to say to me, "Oh, I don't know how you do it, Emma." And I was finding more and more people were coming to me to talk about, you know, obviously seeing things within their own children, ask about my journey, and ask about me personally, and what, you know, what I did in terms of sort of managing the just the intensity of this life, which most people wouldn't really understand unless they live it day to day. And I just thought to myself, God, I could, you know, it's taken me a long time, but I know there's kind of key things that I really lean on that perhaps I could bring together. And I'd really love to be able to share those with other parents and kind of help them before they really get pulled down into a hole, before they really, you know, before their mental health is completely on the floor. And I could, you know, share what's worked for me. And I don't have a magic
Where it
wand.
starts, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
It
I can't
starts
change
with
their day to day. I can't change their life, but I can certainly share what's worked for me. And even if it doesn't all fit, I'm sure some of it would help. And it was literally when One to Many came up. And I actually came in through a brilliant affiliate who I love, who I've worked really closely with. And it was that know, like, and trust factor. I came in through Heidi Maver, and it was that know, like, and trust factor really with her that then led me on to Lisa. And I was just I was really taken by Lisa's, just the way she just cuts through the noise, because I'm very much like that. I'm quite straight talking, no nonsense. And so when I joined the challenge, Race to Recurring Revenue, that really planted the seed and made me start to think, well, you know, wow, how could I make this work? Could this be a thing? Is this actually something I could do? And what I really needed, I wasn't starting from zero in terms of the skill set, obviously in terms of marketing, but I had lost confidence, and I needed some structure, I needed some systems, but I wanted to do something. I wanted to build something ethically, something with integrity. You know, this isn't a gimmick for me. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. This is real. I genuinely want to make an impact, to make a difference in people's lives. So
I've been on calls, doing some calls with some people, and I think they all say a similar thing. Like they know they can help people with something, and that's what they really want to do. That's where it starts. And if your friends, like you were saying, your friends were asking, other people want advice from you, then you know that you're seen as the go-to person for that. And why wouldn't you
Yeah,
want to extend that and help more people?
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think that it kind of helped me realize that I could take myself seriously again, that actually there was more that I can offer than just, not just, because obviously it's a massively important role, but just being mum. And actually, you know, everything that I'd done before wasn't wasted as such. It could all
Yeah,
I could bring those skills to something new and use them in a different way, just to help me reach that audience, really,
yeah.
to reach those parents. And I
So when
think
did you do the course? Was it last year?
I did it last year. Yeah,
Okay.
I did it
So
last
you're
year.
still,
So it's really early days.
yeah,
It's really new. I launched last autumn. I ran my first course, and my audience wasn't very big at that point. It wasn't. I mean, there were 300 on my email list. That just goes to show how small it was.
pretty good.
But I got 9 people, 9 paying people, which is a 3% conversion, which is not bad
Great.
going. And I think that really showed me. I'm really glad that I did that kind of softer launch, because it really helped me shape the course in terms of understanding what people wanted. I got lots of feedback, and it went really well. And it's helped me since then. I've been really focusing on audience growth. My list is closer to 3,000 now. I've been featured in the Times and Sunday Times talking about autistic
3,000
learning.
now?
Yeah. And
Wow.
so I feel like I've got a clear roadmap. I very much followed the Lisa's framework to the letter. You know, I really did, but I adapted it to my audience. So obviously some of it, you know, you look at sort of the sales emails and things, some of it can seem very salesy or pushy. But actually, if you take a step back from that and you just consider it as, this is the framework that you follow through, and if you follow it, it works. You know,
Yes.
and that's what I found. If you just follow it through as it's set out, then it will work for you.
But there's
You know,
always
as long.
options, aren't there? You know, so if you don't want to do a free workshop or a masterclass, or you don't want to do a challenge, you know, there's other ways, there's other options that you can take, other routes, and that's sort of what you've done. Oh,
I think I lost you. Can you hear me?
yeah. One of us froze for a bit. You're back.
Yeah. Phew.
I was just saying
Yeah.
there's
So
options. So if you know, if you're somebody that loves to be live and do video, or wants to do something that's on a Zoom, great. If you're somebody that doesn't and would rather do something written via email, that's fine too.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I do a lot of my audience nurturing is written, really. I love to write. I'm quite, you know, so a lot of the social media and the email nurturing is very much about storytelling and sharing aspects of, you know, my experience, and just showing other parents that there are other people out there that are experiencing life in a similar way to them, validating their feelings, really. And but then the videos, I was really worried about actually delivering the course. But in fact, once I got going on Zoom and I got more comfortable with it, and the course was all written, and I had just the loveliest cohort, the first cohort. It went really well, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, much more than I thought I would. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it can be fun,
I'm
can't
looking
it? It can
forward
be
to doing
fun.
it again, actually.
Yeah, growing your own business and seeing the reactions of people and the reward of things improving for them, and then being happy, and you just feel that pride in something that you've created. It can be a really
Yeah,
great feeling.
yeah, definitely. I would definitely say, I mean, I'm planning to do another between 2 and 3 cohorts this year, depending on how things go. I've got some other stuff. I'm doing one-to-ones. I've got some tripwires as well. But it feels like it's growing it's very organic. And I'm quite happy that, you know, it has taken really the year or almost the year to get the list growth to this point, because I know that the people that are coming to me are people that are my ideal client, that are people that are interested in what I've got to say. But I think, you know,
you can see it
I would
working.
say,
It's
yeah,
working.
I can see
Like,
it
oh, you've done
working.
it.
But I would say to people that are on the fence that you don't necessarily need a big list. What you need is an engaged audience, and you can do this ethically. It doesn't have to be flashy or about sales. And actually, you can do it alongside your real life, because I've still got very, very demanding children, lots of needs, supporting my family and squeezing this in around that as well.
I think that's a really important message for people, because there will be, unfortunately, a lot of people in your position who are dealing with similar things, and you're a great advocate for just getting out there and doing it and making it happen, even though, you know, your time is stretched. So
yeah, I think it's done me a lot of good in terms of, you know, my own, you know, feeling, you know, that I've got some control again in my own life, some autonomy, and also feeling like I'm doing something worthwhile and that I'm making a difference to other people. A big thing I would say about actually doing OTM and doing it live was the accountability as well, because I am neurodivergent. I do get distracted, I do go off on tangents, and I really found that really helpful, because although a lot of the time, you know, I knew the theory, I know marketing, but what I found really helpful with OTM was that it gave me a very specific framework and a structure to work to. And when my mind would race ahead and I'd stop panicking and go in the next step and the next step, I'd be able to rein myself back in and just focus on, no, this is what we're doing at the moment, one thing
that's
at
good
a time.
advice. And this year people are getting a one-to-one coach as well, so they've got a little bit more support, because we recognize that is important, you know, supporting you through the journey to complete it. If you don't get to the end of it, it's kind of, you know, you can't test it, you can't see if it works. You've got to do it. So we're helping people to implement.
I do think it is important to understand, go into it with your eyes open, because it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a framework and it works, but you've got to work bloody hard. I mean, I've put hours and hours and hours in. I've had like 1 o'clock, you know, sitting up doing stuff.
And you love it, and you get in the zone with it though. Like, you can see you're so passionate. You're like, oh, I've got to get it out there. I want to do it. It's so.
You can't turn around and say it doesn't work if you haven't put the work in. Like, you're still building your own business. It's still ultimately the buck stops with you. It's your responsibility. But if you follow it, it will work. And
and you could have used lots of excuses if you'd needed to. You've got lots of other things going on, so good for you. Thank you, Emma. You're busy, and thank you for fitting this in. You're a great advocate. Of course, it was so. I didn't know that you'd grown your email list to 3,000, and you know, you'd launched so many times, and what you're, you know, thinking of doing this year. So, congratulations, well done. Keep in touch. Let us know how it all goes, and obviously we're still always here if you need us. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.